This video is brought to you by none other than Hire Heroes, you guys. Hire Heroes is your one-stop shop when it comes to virtual staffing and making sure that you have qualified talent with your business. One thing that I love about Hire Heroes, you guys, is they've actually gone through the process already of vetting and making sure that your staff member is well trained to best fit your needs. Whether you need help with social media work, posting things on your accounts, responding to people that send messages to your social media accounts, whether you need help with data entry or a multitude of other things that they're qualified to do, Hire Heroes has got you covered. If you're having trouble finding quality talent and number two, affording to be able to run payroll for that talent, Hire Heroes has got you covered with an affordable alternative to have a virtual assistant working for your business. There's a link down in the description of this video to where you can learn more about getting your own VA through Hire Heroes. I certainly recommend it. They're what we use in our business for all of our virtual assistant needs, and you will want to make sure that you check them out today. Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here, and I am back with somebody doing big things in the insurance space. I have one of probably my favorite people in the space right now. I'm here with Jess Pito. Jess is a rock star producer. Jess comes from the direct sales world, but I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that. But Jess is a top producer. She's somebody that's built a Medicare book in a very, very short amount of time. And Jess is just an absolute rock star, superstar in the insurance space right now. So first off, how are you doing today, Jess?
Today is a great day. Every day is a great day, right? And so, yes, I'm doing well. And it took me a while to get to this place to say I'm doing okay. And it's been a journey, and I'm very proud to have been able to accomplish what I have this past year. And so many people will use speed bumps as I don't want to say an excuse, but I guess as an excuse or a reason to not keep moving forward. But at this point, I don't have a choice, but I also love what I do. So it's been very, very rewarding. And the fact that, and I could talk about that more in just a second, but so by me focusing on other people and living my life with a servant's heart has been able to heal mine. So it's brought me a lot of joy to be able to help other people, because in turn they're helping me as well in many ways, shapes, and forms. So
yeah, I think that I've always said that our business is such a unique one because it's not really sales. So many people say like, we're in sales. Yeah, I guess you are to a certain extent. Like there's things you have to do, things you don't do, all that stuff. Like there's certainly saying the right thing, wrong thing with a client. All of that stuff is true. But what we're doing really is very, very, very service-based more than is anything else.
right.
And I think that gets lost in translation sometimes. For anybody that might not know your story, give us a little bit of an intro. Let's start off like at the beginning, right? Like what got you into the insurance industry? Why insurance? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we can take it way back. Out of high school, I went to college to be a radiology tech. I always wanted to do that since the age of 5, believe it or not. I don't know if I broke a finger. I don't know what it was, but I knew what I wanted to do, oddly enough. So that's what I went to college for, and got my first job as an X-ray tech at the age of 19. The hospital hired me before I even took my boards, and they took a chance on me, and it was a very rewarding experience. In addition to being the radiology tech, I was also the staff receptionist. So, and the phlebotomist, believe it or not. So I would be the one to open up at 7 a.m. And it was always those clients that came in at 7 for their blood work.
Yeah.
With their fasting, they're older, they'd have to have their PT blood work done, prothrombin time for those that take Coumadin. And so they would always open up to me and share with me that their insurance was confusing. And the only thing golden about the golden years was the color of their urine. Like they would crack jokes and they just really, I developed this soft spot in my heart for the senior community. And I also felt very bad for them at the same time, because they would share with me that they didn't have anyone in their life to help them navigate Medicare. So either spouses passed away, children moved away, and they would just get this glazed look over their face. I call it Medi confused. And I just felt bad for them. And so I was in that space for 16 years, and I was becoming inspirationally dissatisfied because deep down in my veins, I have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit. I learned that from my mother. And so my life took me in a different direction. And alongside my radiology job, I had dabbled in the direct selling industry. So I've really been in the direct selling space since 24, even though I'm 25. Just kidding. So I moved into a different direction and went with a direct selling company that I was full time with. Like, I walked away from a career that I went to college for to pursue a direct selling career that I earned a very good living at, over 6 figures in that space, doing home parties. And I was in that space for 16 years. But right around the 12th year, the company changed their compensation plan. No ill feelings. They had to do what they had to do to keep their doors open. But at the same time, it came at a time in my life where my focus was different because my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So knowing the outcome of that, it's always, for the most part, it's never a good diagnosis. So I just, I now had to put my big girl pants on and show a brave face for my mother. Even though I was scared inside, I was like, you know what, Mom, come on, we got this. Let's be certain the rest of your life is the best of your life. I don't want you to be scared. I said, if anything, you've been given a gift. You've been given a gift of what your life expectancy is. None of us know, but now you kind of know. So let's go ahead and make a run with it. So I took her, being self-employed gives you the time flexibility to do what you have to do, especially with your family. And so I took her to her chemo appointments, took her to her doctor's appointments. I helped her create a bucket list of what she wanted to do before her time had come to an end. And so we checked off everything on the bucket list. I had her help me create her services. I'm sitting by her hospital bed and I was like, okay, Mom, tell me what food do you want to have served at your after party, and what songs do you want sung, and who do you want to carry you? And so she had a major part in her services when she passed. And so that was really the biggest gift she could have ever given me, because when you're in the heat of the moment and the stress of that situation, you never want to look back and say, I should have done this, because you don't get a second chance at that. So it really was a beautiful gift that I had with my mother. And when my mother passed, I had received my direct selling check and I looked at it and I was like, all right, I don't know what this is, but I can't do this anymore. And I really felt that I needed to enter a new journey with a higher purpose. So when my mother passed, I wanted to be that person for people. So my son, who is a P&C agent, encouraged me to go get my life and health license. So I did, not knowing what was going to come of that, but I wanted to move into the Medicare space. So I started interviewing and asking questions of people in that space. And I had a very lengthy conversation with the person that I ended up, becoming a part of her team. And so I've been in this space for 5 years. I did not come into this space with any clients whatsoever. And I built it from the ground up in 5 years. And I have a book of over 800 clients all by myself. Like, I had no help whatsoever up until this past year, just a few months ago, actually. And so, again, as you had mentioned, my life has been extremely challenging this past year. And this past year, so just to give everyone the backstory on that, in October of 2021, we are in 2023. Yeah, so October of 2021, October 24th to be exact, I was downstairs in the kitchen getting ready to go to a vendor event. I had a booth at CVS. This is during the first week of AEP, everybody. Keep that in the back of your head. Oh. So 1 week into AEP, and I'm getting ready to head out to CVS, and my husband said he was going to come on down and cook me breakfast before I left for work. And next thing I know, I'm in the kitchen and I hear a big thud. And I'm like, what was that? And next thing I know, I hear this sucking sound, like he turned on the vacuum or something. I'm like, here's me. Why are you vacuuming right now? I'm trying to leave for work. So he wasn't responding. So I go to the bottom of the stairs and the noise is getting louder. And so when I ran upstairs, I see my husband coding on our bedroom floor. So in a pure moment of pure fear, I was like, this can't be happening. But then I had to snap out of it because my husband's life is literally in my hands right now. So I know how to do CPR, but I needed to grab the phone. So I put him on his side so he wouldn't aspirate, ran to get the phone, called 911, and they said, do you know CPR? And I said, yes. And so for over 10 minutes, I literally am trying to save my husband's life. And miraculously, I did. And he made a complete full recovery and had gone back to work in April 4th of 2022. So 1 month later, May 4th on 2022, I was at a networking meeting and my phone beeps and I get a text message from his job that they were looking for him. He hadn't shown up for work and he's not answering his phone. And this feeling like the blood just drained out of me. And for whatever reason, I got the feeling that I knew something was seriously wrong. So I'm calling him, no answer. Now I'm calling the police. I think I've watched too many Lifetime movies because I'm like, I don't want to be the suspect in this.
Right.
So I call the police and I said, I need you to meet me at my house to do a wellness check on my husband. Something seriously wrong. So I got to the house and I just knew the car was still in the garage. The alarm was still on in the house, which means he never made it downstairs. So the police came and found him on our bedroom floor. And sadly enough, he passed away last May. And he was the breadwinner at that time. And he was my everything. Like this year, we would have been married for 25 years. I've known him for 35 years and my life is not the same. Oh, yeah. Sorry. So,
you were just fine.
Yeah, I only really took a week off, because for what it is, I don't have a choice. If I want to keep my house, like I said, he was the breadwinner at the time, a physician, and there's a key point to that. So if I want to keep my house and the house that we built together, I need to work. Yeah. And so from April of 2022, I was working in a financial office and left to be self-employed in April, go figure. So from April to now, August 31st of 2023, I went from 375 clients in a book of business to well over 800 now. Oof. And all because I'm laser focused.
Yes.
I do what I have to do. I set goals. And now I know my husband's incredibly proud of me that here he is, a physician making a good salary. But this year I would have out-earned him. So I know he's incredibly proud of me and he has his wings on my shoulder, helping me and providing these opportunities that are put before me. And, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, I think the definition is. And so, it's just, this business has been the biggest blessing for me because it's providing me what I need to do, but also by me focusing on other people, has helped heal my heart, as I shared. So
yeah, absolutely.
That question.
No, it was great. It was fantastic. And, from afar, getting to know you probably the past year or so that we've gotten to know each other a little bit better, to see everything that you've been going through, it would break a lot of people. It would just completely, cause them to just completely just collapse. And, obviously it's a traumatic thing to go through. It's a horrible thing to go through. I can't even imagine what this past year has been like, but I love that where we're at today is the progress that you've made and that feeling of like, it is for a higher purpose. I'm healing my broken heart by helping others and providing a great service and knowing that your husband's proud of all the progress you've made. That is such an incredible and inspirational, not end because it's not over, but like, point in the story that we find ourselves in for you. And it's just been for me, I've been watching from afar, and it's been so fun to see your progress, more than anything else. And as I said when we first jumped on here today, I'm like, how's it feel to be a rock star? How's it feel?
So yeah, when I first started, right, I had called myself your Medicare Maven. And then of course with the CMS rules and this and that, and don't blink, something will change.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it is what it is. So having to come up with a new business name to get Medicare out of it. So I'm not being malicious about it, but I don't feel like changing it years down the road either. So I'm like, let me just deal with it now.
Yeah.
So in thinking about what it is I wanted, because your Medicare Maven still resonated with me, like that's what my clients know me as, the Maven. So my husband was supposed to retire this year to work with me. He was going to get his license and be my partner. So we both have the same initials. I'm Jesse, he's John, Pito. So I took the JP. And so I'm calling my new business name, drum roll unveiling, JP Maven Insurance Benefits. So as
Love
of October 1st, yeah, that's the official name. So my husband is still working with me, but in a different capacity. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, the way that you've been able to kind of, just really, like you said earlier, laser focus has been very inspirational. Talk a little bit about the past year, right? So that growth, going from where you were client-wise up until where you are today, over 800 clients. I know you mentioned earlier laser focusing in and just really, pedal to the metal. What are some things other than that has allowed you to go at it from such a level of efficiency and to get that production to where it is? What are some things that you can share that has allowed you to do that?
So business is always evolving, right? So when I first started, I did, a lot of the grassroots marketing. First of all, I've never met a stranger. That's just a mantra that I live by. And I'm not afraid to do anything or try anything. So I did, the farmers, I set up booths at farmers markets and car shows and CVS's and Walgreens and Walmart's. Like I did all that. And I'll still do that because I don't want to ever forget where I came from. But I also would call leads when you get the response cards in the mail. And I had a great response to that because I have a system. Like I've always lived my entire life by a GPS. GPS is having goals, a purpose, and a system. And the word system for me stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. Like I've always been in every aspect of my life, a very systematic approach to things. And so I would call leads. My system is I would call the lead. Most people don't answer. I didn't care. I left a friendly, upbeat message. You want to smile when you're calling someone. And I would say, I'm sorry that I missed you. I'm going to mail you a letter with my business card. And I would love for you to call me back and see how I can be of help or answer any questions you have. I got a great response from that. So as soon as I would hang up, I would mail a letter with 2 of my business cards. You might say, well, why 2? Well, 1 for them and 1 to share with a friend, because I always ask for referrals. And so that's how I built my business very early on. Then, of course, now I'm at a point, I'm very blessed. The phone is constantly ringing in. Isn't that the dream? And that's what we strive for. Very rarely do I have to make an outbound call unless it's me returning someone's call. But the phone is just ringing, ringing, and ringing. And it's amazing. And I still buy leads and I mail out postcards to my local community. And I'll ask them because oddly enough, someone in the government missed the memo that my husband passed away last October. My husband would have been 65. I mean, he passed away last May. His birthday is this October where he would have been 65. I've been saving all of his mail since then to my advantage because remember, my husband's working for me. I've saved all of his mail. And now I go out on the educational circuit because I'm a big seminar person. I go out and do seminars, and now I take the mail bag with me, and I'm the mail lady, and I go through the mail, and I go through what's legitimate and what's not. And they love it because I'm providing value another way, and it's been well received. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. That is great. I think that it's one of those things where it's not always the hand we're dealt that's going to impact where we end up, right? It's how we deal with it. It's how we react to the hand that we're dealt. And I think your story is such a great example of that. I want to talk a little bit about AEP. I think it's just natural that we have a little conversation about it, since we're approaching it. By the time this video airs, it'll be September. And what would you say are, because you've been in the business now for several years, 5 years. What is the key to having a successful AEP for a Medicare agent in your eyes?
Well, first you have to define success. Like, what does that mean to you? Meaning the person who's listening to this. What is that? Because I think one of the biggest problems I see in this industry is people are comparing their start to someone's middle. They want what somebody else has who's been in the business for a very long time. And then they start to question themselves as to why they don't have what the other person has, but really hasn't done the work to get what that person has either.
Yep.
So it takes work, right? The only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. You have to work. You have to have goals, like I said. And so I have goals every single month throughout the year. Like I always say, I'm not an agent for a season. I'm an agent for a reason. I'm here all year long. And I have monthly goals for how many enrollments I want and all the different types of insurance that I offer. So I keep everything in a book, and I keep track of, where I'm at, like know your numbers. And so that's just throughout the year. Now comes AEP, and I'm prepping for AEP in April. Like once first quarter's gone, I'm now onto AEP. My number one goal is to retain my book, because I've never worked so hard to retain my book from the own carriers that I write for. Yeah. And I know some people might have a little comment about that, but I feel like I'm kind of butting heads with my carriers to keep my own clients. So I work incredibly hard to keep my own book. And so I check with them, I review their coverage, I specifically with the prescriptions and how I can help them pay the lowest amount out of pocket. And not just that, then I have a goal for how many new individuals that I want to add to my book as well. And again, most of them at this point, it's all referrals from my current book. So very, very rarely do I lose a client. It's only if they've passed away or moved away to a place that I'm not licensed. And it just doesn't make financial sense for me to get a license for one person in a state that might charge me a lot. So at that point, I'm happy to refer them to someone that I know, like, and trust within the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great point. There's so many agents I see that they'll pick up 15 states when they're new. They'll pick up 20 states when they're new. And I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you focus on your own backyard? And then not only is it the license fee, but if you have a corp, there's the corp license fee. Some carriers charge appointment fees in the state. And so it can really add up very quickly.
Right. Yeah. You have to water the grass where you're at. Right.
Yeah.
And so being an agent looks different. Someone might not like the way I run my business. I'm an independent agent. I now have agents under me. They're 1099s. And now I have 2 admins that are 1099s. I don't want employees. I don't want the headache of workers' comp insurance and unemployment or discrimination. Like, there's so many things that involve having employees. I'm like, I'm not ready for that just yet. I'm sticking to the 1099 world for just a little while, but that's me. Then there's, agents that might be LOAs or call center, whatever that looks like for you. There's no right or wrong answer. Just stick to it and work the business. There, again, you just have to set goals. And I set goals during AEP about how many retail events do I want to do? How many seminars? Like the whole month of September is seminar month for me. Very rarely do I do seminars in October, November, and December, because I find that most people make their decisions by October. They want to be on to Thanksgiving and enjoy their time. And I always tell them, you know what, let's make a decision today before Thanksgiving gets here, because I want to make room on your plate to be able to add the things that you enjoy. So let me take something off of your plate now. And you just have to have a wide variety of goal, different aspects of the business to move you forward throughout AEP.
Yeah. I think it's a great point. And I think it's really a winning strategy. It's a winning formula. What are some things that, and it might just be as simple as, excellent service and, providing him, updates and things like that. But what are some things that go into retention of your book of business, like you said, right? Because that's obviously a big thing that doesn't get talked about enough. Everybody's always focused on new client acquisition, but people don't talk as much about keeping the ones you have. How do you stop yourself from having that revolving door business where people are going out and coming in and going out and coming in?
Thank you for asking that, because no matter what area of life I've been in, people will tell you that know me, I pride myself on customer service. And there's a quote out there that it costs you 7 times more to find a new client than to keep the one that you have. So with that being said, I have a system from the time I enroll them, contacting them after about 10 days after enrollment to be certain they've received their card. And then 30 days, okay, here's how you use your benefit, whether it be OTC or whatever it is. And then 60 days, how are you doing? Any questions? And then 90 days. So you want to have a system from the time you've enrolled someone. You don't want to just enroll them and leave them to figure it out, because they'll get frustrated and go somewhere else to get the answer. Then I also call my clients. I use Agency Block. I set up an automated workflow so that they receive an email on their birthday that says happy birthday. I also use a system called Mailbox Power for all of their birthday cards. So they get a birthday card from me. They also get a 6-month birthday card from me, which they think it's the funniest thing, that no one has ever celebrated their half birthday. They think it's hilarious. And then I also call my clients on their birthday. And you might say, gosh, that's a little excessive. I spend so much time in my car that I know whose birthday it is that day. I think the most I've ever had to call on one day is 5 people. Call them while you're in the car and make their day. And so I'll just call them, and whoever does answer, they'll be like, you know what? Thank you so much for the card. You are the only person who sent me a birthday card. Hello. That in itself is just, you feel sad, but it's like, yeah, it's huge, because it's all on how you make people feel, right?
Yep.
And that's what you're looking for. How are you making them feel? And then I'll send, if I'm having a conversation with them and they tell me that their cat passed away, I'll send them a sympathy card. If they tell me that they had surgery, I'll send them, a get well card. I send Thanksgiving cards. I don't send Christmas cards, because you don't know who celebrates Christmas and who doesn't. So either send a Thanksgiving card or a New Year's card, because everyone celebrates those two, but not everyone celebrates Christmas. Yeah. And then I also send them a thank you for doing business with me card. And, thank you for referring someone to me. They have, there's a card within Mailbox Power that has brownie points, right? And so if someone refers someone to me, I'll send them a card with a brownie that says you've earned brownie points with me. Thank you. So there's just always a reason to send someone something and just make them feel special. And that's really why I have a huge client retention and why people are so comfortable referring people to me, because of that.
I love it. I love everything about it. And there's no duplication or replacement for just good old quality service like that. And going out of your way to making people feel appreciated, thought of, everything else in between. I've been telling people a lot recently, like, it shouldn't be this way, but it's almost like it's rare when somebody experiences great service in 2023. You know, it's like if you go eat somewhere, if you get great service, you know, and you have a great server, you have a great person bringing you your food. It's almost like you're not expecting it. So it's like, oh, wow. You know, like I got
right. And tell them, like, bad news travels so much faster, and I don't understand why. Yeah. Share the good. Like, be kind. Being kind doesn't cost you anything but an extra minute of your time, and just go the extra mile for people. I mean, even during COVID, you know, I had clients that were isolated during COVID and they needed prescriptions. I'm like, what can I do to help you? I ran out to the pharmacy and got their prescriptions and dropped them off. You got to do what you got to do.
Yep. You sure do. You sure do. Good stuff, Jess. I want to be respectful of your time, but this was fantastic and all the information was terrific. I really appreciate your time. If there's anybody that watches this and they want to touch base with you, they want to connect with you somehow, what's the best way they can find you? What's the best place they can reach out to you?
They're always welcome to call or text at 203-206-0848. That's my phone, which you can text. I'm on Facebook, which is Jessalyn Pito. I am going to see if we have mutual friends, because if we don't, I'm not accepting your friend request. Sorry. I have to be very careful. There's a lot of scammers out there. Yep. And then you can always email me as well, which it's Jessalyn, JESSALYNPITO@gmail.com. So I'm responsive, and that's the other thing. The biggest complaint, I have to say, two things. The biggest complaint I hear from people is their agent never calls them back. Yep. I will gladly take their call if they call me. So please return your clients' calls. They want to hear from you within 24 hours. So that's not too much to ask. These individuals, they may not be spending their money out of their pocket, but they deserve to be serviced. And if you are sending out any mailing at all, because I get people who are calling me with the postcard that I mail out, and I'll say to them, because I know what my husband's been receiving, I'm like, why did you call me? I'm curious. I know how much mail you're getting. Why me? And they said, because your picture is on your postcard. I'm like, okay. Thank you.
That's huge.
They want to know they want to know who they're working with.
Yep. They want to make sure.
At the end of the day, right, Christian, at the end of the day, we all have choices. Yes. You know, you can choose to go to Walmart. You can choose to go to Target. We all have choices. And the clients have the same choice. There's agents everywhere. So if you do not service them, they are going to leave you. And don't blame them.
Absolutely. 100%. Like if you don't take care of them, somebody else is always glad to. And so I think that couldn't be more spot on with that. Good stuff, Jess. This was awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm blown away and honored that you even asked me to be on. So thank you.
Well, it's the first of many. I can assure you, we'll be doing more of this as time goes on. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Do me a favor, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps more agents just like you who need to hear this information find it easier. Comment your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, anything that was like a standout topic for you, and make sure to subscribe for future content. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.